Welcome, everyone, to the July 6th, 2022 Yarmouth Planning Board meeting. I'm Joanne Crowley, Chair. As this is a hybrid meeting involving both in-person and remote participants, I'll read the following statement into the record. This is to formally advise that as required by Massachusetts General Laws, Chapter 30A, paragraphs 18 to 25, and pursuant to Chapter 20 of the Acts of 2021, an act relative to extending certain COVID-19 measures adopted during the state of emergency, signed into law on June 16th, 2021. The Yarmouth Planning Board will hold a public meeting on Wednesday, July 6th, 2022 at 5:30 p.m. in the hearing room, Yarmouth Town Hall, 1146, Route 28, South Yarmouth, Mass. 02664. The public is welcome to attend. Remote access is provided under the meeting agenda on the town website and under the Agendas and Minutes tab by selecting Planning Board. I will begin by taking roll call. Brad Goodwin?
Present.
Susan Breda?
Present.
Will Rubenstein?
Hi, I'm here.
Chris Vincent?
Present.
Jim Saban? Joanne Crowley, present. Seeing we have a quorum present, I'll now call the meeting to order. For remote public participation during the public comment period for this public hearing, or at my discretion during this public meeting, I will invite the audience to comment. Online audience members can use their raise hand button to notify the chair. Dial-in audience members should press *9 on their phones. All audience members will be muted until you are recognized by me to participate. Once recognized, audience members are asked to identify themselves by first and last name and affiliation for the public record. I would like you now to please join me in the Pledge of Allegiance. Pledge allegiance to the flag of the United States of America and to the republic for which it stands, one nation, under God, indivisible, with liberty and justice for all. First item on our agenda tonight is the continuation of public hearings that began on May 18th and were extended to June 15th for definitive subdivision number 2936A and special permit number 116. I would now like to continue this concurrent public hearing on both of these requests and welcome the residents of Yarmouth who are here in person and those who may be joining us remotely, as well as representatives for the applicant, Mr. Paul Tardif, Attorney Paul Tardif. You will all recall that this piece of property is owned by the Roman Catholic Bishop of Fall River. The applicant is the Davenport Companies, 20 Main Street, South Yarmouth, Mass. 02664. The property location is an unnumbered lot on the south side of Route 6A between Ken Compsett Circle and Outward Reach and across the street from Hockanum Road. Assessor's map number 125, parcel 39, a 15.3 acre lot in zoning district R40 residential. The applicant is seeking approval for a 14 lot, single family cluster subdivision planned entitled Definitive Subdivision Plan of Land of the proposed single family cluster development at Lot 2, Route 6A, Yarmouthport, Mass. For the Davenport Companies with waivers, and a special permit for a 14-lot single-family cluster subdivision under the provisions of the Yarmouth zoning bylaw, section 402. In our package, you will see that Attorney Paul Tardif has provided an agreement for extension to us, requesting a continuance of this hearing to our meeting on August 3rd. I'd like Mr. Tardif, who I believe is joining us remotely, to give us an update.
Sure. Thank you, Madam Chair. Yeah, we are continuing to explore that other option for accessing Route 6A and also.
Paul, may I interrupt just for a second? Could you just
Sure.
speak a little bit louder?
Sure. Is this better?
A little bit. Yep. Thank you.
Okay. So we continue to work on another access and also for relocating possibly some of the septic systems and some of the lots, because that all has to be reworked, and it's been a little difficult to get that done quickly because we are doing a lot of research on that. So we're hoping that we can get another extension to the August 3rd meeting. We hope that we can have at least maybe a preliminary plan for that new location at that time, and then we can dispose of this at that point. So that's really what we're asking for, is a little bit more time.
Okay, thank you very much. So Any questions or comments from the board for Mr. Tardif? Hearing none, may I have a motion to continue the hearing on definitive subdivision plan 2936A and special permit number 116 to our regularly scheduled August 3rd, 2022 meeting?
So moved. Second.
Any discussion? Roll call vote. Brad Goodwin,
Approve.
Will Rubenstein,
Aye.
Susan Britta,
Aye.
Chris Vincent,
Aye.
Joanne Crowley, aye. The motion passes unanimously. Thank you, Mr. Tardif, for joining us this evening. We'll see you on the 3rd.
That's great. Thank you.
Next on our agenda were a discussion with regard to an open committee assignment with the departure of Liz Hartsgrove. The Community Preservation Committee is trying to schedule a meeting and gather a quorum for its meeting in July, and they need some help from us. So I will attend that meeting on an interim basis once we find out when the meeting is. I hope I'm available.
We just get a nomination and a vote.
Sure.
That'd be great.
Okay. So I need Mr. Goodwin, would you mind nominating me?
No problem, but how long is the term?
It's one meeting.
One meeting, okay. I nominate the chair to fill the seat for one meeting.
Well, can I just be
I'm
clear?
sorry.
How about just fill the seat until we look at it, reassignments in our second meeting in September like we normally do? There, for some reason, they have a second meeting. I don't want it to be an issue, that's all.
Okay. Make a motion to nominate our chair to fill the open seat until otherwise replaced or extended.
Second.
Roll call vote. Mr. Goodwin,
Aye.
Will Rubenstein,
Aye.
Susan Britta,
Aye.
Chris Vincent,
Aye.
Joanne Crowley, aye. The motion passes unanimously. So I'll attend that meeting in July. Next up, we have meeting minutes. May I have a motion to accept the minutes of our June 1st, 2022 meeting?
So moved.
Second,
Oh, second, of course.
any discussion? Roll call. Brad Goodwin,
Aye.
Will Rubenstein,
Aye.
Susan Britta,
Aye.
Chris Vincent,
Aye.
Joanne Crowley, aye. May I have a motion to accept the minutes of our June 15th, 2022 meeting?
So moved.
Second.
Roll call. Brad Goodwin,
Aye.
Will Rubenstein,
Aye.
Susan Britta,
Aye.
Chris Vincent,
Aye.
Joanne Crowley, aye.
Madam Chair, could I just also commend Kathy Williams for the quality of those minutes, especially June 15th minutes, because they were awesome. Thank you.
Thank you, Will. I appreciate that.
Nice job.
And as usual, those hearing minutes are a great public record. Kathy, thank you. They really, and we've had quite a few this year, it seems. So thank you very much. Thanks for bringing that up. Well, I appreciate that. Next up are committee updates. Any committee updates? I have two. One, the Water Resources Advisory Committee, which I did not attend, but I did watch the video. I was unable to attend it. The Massachusetts DEP came in and gave a very lengthy presentation about their regulations they are promulgating, and they're out moving from town to town with regard to Title V septic and some new rules that will probably affect everyone in town. So it was a preliminary presentation. It was a presentation on their regulations that they are now out promulgating and reviewing with towns. Mr. Rittenauer was there, and several members from the DEP staff from the state were in attendance. This is a big change that will affect almost all constituents here in town. And I think I'm not sure if it's posted on the website, the town website, the presentation. It was quite thorough.
I know the presentation is on the town website. And this is basically Mass DEP says any watershed that has a TMDL for nitrogen, they're basically working this fall to promulgate regulations to change Title V to say all existing and new septic systems need to be converted to an IA system within the next 5 years, or each of your you need to develop a watershed plan for each of your watersheds that will identify basically how you plan on reducing, I think it's 75% of the nitrogen within 20 years. So obviously, I think most communities, and I would anticipate Yarmouth would follow suit of really pursuing that watershed permit, which we have that 5-year timeline to develop all of that. Versus, because if everyone had an IA system, that wouldn't solve our problem anyway. We really need to have higher reductions in nitrogen loading that can be provided by an IA system. So it's a little bit of a stick from Mass DEP to get people to really move forward a little faster. They seemed pleased. I did attend the meeting. They did seem pleased with the progress that the town has been making and are very interested in seeing us continue to move forward.
Kathy, what's a TMDL?
Total maximum daily load.
Okay. And was there any conversation about how the wastewater program is going to impact this, or is there no nexus there at all?
I think it's a case of us identifying in a watershed permit how our plan is going to be
Okay.
meeting the reduction needed.
Okay.
Okay. And then one other meeting I attended was Community Economic Development, in which we agreed to funding for a couple of things. One, we're going to add roadway banners in 2 locations, one on the Parkers River Bridge and another set on 6A in Yarmouth Port Village. And the Chamber of Commerce has been very helpful with the project in getting the sign maker, if you will, together. So we reviewed and approved funding for additional roadway banners at those 2 locations. In addition, we also approved funding for a wayfinding signage program. We'd applied for a grant to the state to design and develop a wayfinding program. And the state granted us $45,000, and we will be matching the $45,000 with a comparable amount from the Tourism Preservation Revenue Fund. So we took action on both of those items at the meeting.
Can I ask a question? I heard that the issue of marijuana has been brought up again and is going to be discussed at the Economic Development Committee, or they want to resurrect the issue?
It was discussed at their prior meeting. They're not this past meeting, but the meeting before that. And I did not attend that meeting. And I unfortunately, I've not yet looked at the minutes, but it was a fairly lively discussion around the table about it. I would recommend maybe you just check the minutes and or the YouTube video.
Do you have the?
There wasn't any, there were no decisions made.
Yeah. Was it? What was the date? Was that the June meeting, Kathy?
6:14.
Hold on, I have it here. It was June 14th. It was the June 14th meeting. In fact, I have the minutes here, Susan, I can give them to you.
Okay.
I think they were looking to do more research.
Yes.
is
Yeah,
what I
yeah.
understood.
Sure.
They're not in any position to move forward with any recommendations as of yet. And there are mixed views on the committee. There's
One-
significantly mixed views.
One would hope.
There are. There are. So that's all I have on the 2 committee meetings I attended. Anyone else? Okay.
The drive-in site committee is going to be at the end of the month, the 29th,
The
Kathy?
18th.
18th. So we'll have an update at our August meeting.
Kathy, can you just give us a quick update on the cell tower? There's been some review, design review.
It went through design review, and they had gone through design review originally with the tower with the exposed antennas. The design review committee did ask for some additional information on siting alternative analysis, which isn't necessarily their purview, but they did provide some information on that. And they also proposed a new design, and it was meant to look like a clock tower. It was very similar to this. It kind of looked like the sign version that we saw probably a full year ago in July of last year. Proposed some improvements to that. I guess there's two two lines of thought on this one. Do you just make it look like a cell tower and people will kind of like forget about it and drive by it and not see it? Or do you try to make it look like something that you'd want to look at like a clock tower? My concern is that if you don't have the right detailing and if you don't have the right design, it's going to end up just being this much larger, more pronounced thing that's not overly attractive. So it's really a difficult situation, but they are going to site plan review, which is town staff review on the 19th of July.
19th of July.
And then after that, I would think they would prepare and submit their ZBA application, but they would still need to do a balloon test for the town and move forward with that. So they wouldn't go right into a hearing. It'd be
Okay.
A little bit of time after.
Thank you for that update. Any other board member items?
Madam
Yeah,
Chair? I don't know if this is the right place to ask or this part of the meeting. I had a procedural question about the August 3rd hearing. And what I mean by that is, I seem to recall that one of the two votes may need a supermajority. If I recall correctly, and I'm just putting that in the context of only having 6 members currently. And I just wanted to make sure, A, I remembered that correctly, and B, how the process might be going to get a 7th member.
I'm going to defer to Kathy on that.
Yeah,
Is this the right place to ask this or the right
No,
time?
it's fair. Yeah, no, we probably won't be meeting until that meeting. So
It's
yes, it
purely,
is.
it's purely procedural and it applies to any special permit that would come before the planning board. It requires a supermajority, which means 5 people would need to vote. So even if you only have 6 members on your board, it's still 5.
Yes, well, I was told there was going to be no math when I took this job, but I do understand. I just wasn't sure if I guess it's sort of connected to the recruitment and the talent bank. And whether we'll have a 7th member by the August 3rd meeting, which of course none of us really can know.
Yeah, thank you for that. Thank you for that, Will.
May I ask one other question, please, Madam Chair?
Certainly.
Which is, I recall, I want to say last month, but it might have been in May, there was a meeting about Route 6A improvements in terms of Yarmouthport Village. And I wasn't able to attend, and for the life of me, I can't find it, and was wondering if Kathy knew who ran that meeting and if it was recorded. Was it the fire station, I believe?
Yeah, that was not recorded. That was kind of a meeting that was held a little bit at the last minute in response to some concerns, really from the business owners on Route 6A. I personally was envisioning that as just being a business meeting. It kind of got out there as a full advertisement of a public meeting. So it wasn't quite, it wasn't Zoomed or in a place where it could be recorded like we normally would if it was a full public meeting. But we're going to have that kind of result in some of the input that went before the Board of Selectmen with regard to the recommendations for parking in the village. I'm sorry, I don't remember the date that went before the Board of Selectmen, but they did vote to approve those recommendations temporarily. And then while we're looking at more long-term solutions, we did get a proposal from a consultant, VHB, who had worked on the Route 6A corridor back in 2019. Staff needs to review that and get them on board to come up with some more detailed designs. There's a lot of issues and kind of conflicting issues and needs and desires within the village. So it's going to be a little tricky to try and make everybody happy.
Well, the reason I was asking if it was recorded is because if I remember being on CBC, that there's also a huge need for a significant water main repair or water main upgrade to the service on Route 6A. And I believe that is in Jeff's calendar, in the next 12 months, if I recall correctly. So sorry, just yapping out loud now, but just trying to connect the dots. Thank you.
Some of those improvements, sidewalk improvements, maybe curbing
Right.
improvements within the water main project, kind of get that permitted and constructed. Because once they're in there digging it up, they got to restore it and put it back some way. You're already out there. You might as well do something additional. It'd probably be beyond the scope of the water main project. So some additional funding would need to be identified for that.
Okay, thank you very much, Madam Chair. Thank you, Kathy.
Thank you, Will. Any other board member items? Kathy, you've sent us correspondence. I think we're all caught up on that. Anything else, Kathy, you want to
Got
touch
nothing.
base? Okay. You and I have talked, it doesn't look like we have enough material for a meeting or requirements for a meeting on July 20th. So we will not have a regularly scheduled meeting. Our next meeting will be August 3rd.
Hmm.
Okay. Any other comments or discussion? Okay. May I have a motion to adjourn?
So moved.
Second.
Roll call. Brad Goodwin,
Aye.
Will Rubenstein,
Aye.
Susan Britta,
Aye.
Chris Vincent,
Aye.
Joanne Crowley, aye. Meeting is adjourned. Thank you all.
Thank you very much. guys.
Thank you.
Thank you very much. Well done.